Hello. This video is going to be explaining the format and some rules and guidelines for one of the most common homework assignments that you have to do for our class. These are what I call section questions. Instead of just reading a chapter and maybe answering the pre-made questions that come with the textbook, I task my history students to create some multiple choice questions based on the readings that they did. And the pattern is the same for all of the times that we use this assignment. So I thought it would be a good idea to show you where the rules are written up in our class Schoology page, and then kind of talk about all the criteria for grading them in a bit of detail so that later, if you have questions about why you might be getting things wrong, you can reference these instructions here. Okay. So the first place where you'll find a full write-up of the rules for how to do section question assignments is in the very first of them that will be assigned to you, which is the section questions assignment for Chapter 1, Section 1. I'll read through the rules first, and then just kind of comment on things at the end of it. So first it says, read Chapter 1, Section 1 in your textbook and create 4 original multiple choice questions based on your reading. So by original, I mean you've created them, you haven't taken them from anywhere. Okay. Multiple choice questions should have at least 3 to 4 possible answers and should cover a broad range of topics from throughout the section. That last part is important, the idea of covering a broad range of topics. What I mean is you shouldn't take all of your questions from a single spot in the textbook. You shouldn't go to one single page and try to find everything that you need for all of your questions that you create in one spot. What I recommend is you try to break up the section that you read evenly into kind of equal parts and try to find one multiple choice question for each one. In addition to listing what the actual question is and creating the 3 to 4 possible answers, you also have to mark which is the correct answer. Okay, so that's what it says down here. You have to mark which answer is correct. Easy way to do that is to put it in bold, make it a different color, anything along those lines. And you also have to list which page number from the textbook you got your question and answers. So you have to show me where in the textbook did you pull this information? Where in the textbook is this concept found? I recommend, like I said, that you spread things out and that you don't have any more than one question per subsection of the textbook. And you shouldn't really have any joke questions or joke answers. You want to try to treat this as if it was a serious, writing assignment. The reason being, I give you this assignment because one of the most common types of questions you get asked on our tests for this class is a multiple choice question. And if you get into the habit of making multiple choice questions that are based on the materials that you're reading for the class, you may accidentally, if you're taking the assignment seriously, come up with the actual questions that I would ask you on the test. Or maybe a question that you write is going to inspire me, and then I'll add something like yours to the test, and you'll benefit from having taken the assignment seriously. So it's a good idea to take these things seriously. So I say don't add any joke questions or joke answers, and that way the work that you are doing is going to help you more for the actual test that you'll take later on. Okay, so that's the general rules. That's the set of rules that are going to be used for every single section questions assignment that you do, all the way up through the beginning of the second semester where we might put a little bit of a twist on it. Now, how do these things get graded? There's a rubric that will be attached to every section questions assignment, okay? And it shows you exactly how many points you can earn based on these different categories, okay? And let's go through them one by one, okay? Correctness just means that the answers and questions that you're writing are correct. They have a basis in truth and fact. So for instance, if you say something like, which of the following are bugs, and you have 4 choices, cat, dog, tiger, lion, and you say lion, right? None of those are bugs. You would get a point wrong for correctness in there. Something about the question that you've written is incorrect. Something about the answers that you've written is incorrect. Okay, that's what the correctness quality goes for. Completeness covers a lot of stuff. This would be where if you were pulling all of your material from a single page or a single area of the textbook section, I might take a point off from there because you're not doing things thoroughly and looking over the whole reading. If you mess up something in the directions, for instance, so let's say you only have 3 questions instead of 4, that goes towards completeness. So basically following directions and showing me that you're fully reading everything that you're supposed to be reading here is what the correct completeness category goes for. Viability is probably the most difficult one. This has to do with whether or not the question is a good question. Basically, whether it has any flaws that would mean I couldn't really use it as a test question if I was to try to steal your question and put it in the test. A good example of this would be, so let's use the question again, which of the following is a bug? And you put, cat, dog, praying mantis, ladybug, right? And two of those are bugs, praying mantis and ladybug. There's nothing wrong with any of the elements in the question. There's nothing incorrect about the question, but it's a bad question because there are 2 possible answers, and as a student, if I was presented with that, it would be very stressful for me to try to figure out which of these answers would be the right one. So viability basically means that your question hasn't gotten overly complicated because it's going to make people double think or rethink their question. And finally, the last 2 categories are very easy. You get some points off for grammar, spelling, and punctuation mistakes. So make sure that you take the time to edit and spell check your work. So if you have no mistakes, you get full credit. If you have 1 to 2 mistakes, you get a point off, and so on and so forth. And then you get a point for MLA formatting, which should be the easiest out of all the points that you should get. Okay. So those are the criteria, and when I grade them, you will be able to see exactly which things you got right or wrong on this rubric. There will be a little rubric symbol up in the top right of the screen, and you can click on that, and it'll show you exactly how I marked your submission. So this is a general run-through of section question assignments. We will give you a chance to look at your assignments after you've submitted 1 or 2 of them. And we can go over them and see what kind of mistakes you may have made. But the rubric really does explain everything you need, as long as you understand what all these categories mean.